A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, give me advice. He said, La taghdab, don't get angry, don't get angry, don't get angry, walak al-jannah, and you will have paradise. But then again, Rasul ﷺ said in another hadith, Laysa al-shadidu bis-sur'ah. The winning wrestler is not, the winning person is not the one who is the winning wrestler. إنما الشديد الذي يملك نفسه عند الغضب. Rather, the strong person is not the winning wrestler. The strong person is the one who can control and manage and direct and control their anger at the time of anger. Therefore, you can see from these verses, brothers and sisters, and from these hadiths, first of all, Allah did not say those who do not get angry. He said those who restrain their anger, meaning you take control of it. Therefore, anger is normal. And in the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, he said those who restrain and control their anger, not those who don't get angry. My brothers and sisters, I have to give credit to an imam, a scholar, and also a psychologist and a therapist by the name of Dr. Yasir Al-Khuzaimi, where I took some really valuable advice. He speaks in Arabic. It's really good for you guys to listen to him on YouTube. He's really good with all these psychological mental factors. He says that venting, there are types of people who vent, and he names them. He says, some people, when they get angry, you have the writer. They vent by writing, by texting, by posting, by commenting. They're the people in front of you won't show their anger. Give him space, they'll write. One brother, he said, bro, my wife. I said, what about your wife? He goes, she goes into her room, and then my phone. I go, what about your phone? He goes, have you ever watched The Matrix? I said, yeah. He goes, you know on the computer how all those numbers come down like this, in green? I said, yeah. He goes, that's how she sends me, essays after essays. I said, that's how she vents, Habibi. I go, what should I do? I go, don't respond. He goes, but if I don't respond, I get another essay. Matrix. I said to him, wait, get a box of chocolate next day and just eat it together. He goes, does that work really? I go, try it. Have you ever tried it? He goes, no. I go, try it. Try it, Le. Go ahead. It works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you need to talk about the problems, but communication is key. Anyway, the writer. The second type of person who vents is the blamer. They show their anger by blaming. Everyone's fault except theirs. Your fault, you. But that's all as far as they go. The third type of venting person in anger is the one who verbally threatens but does no action. They'll threaten you, but they won't carry it out. The fourth type of person is the violent one, but says nothing. He'll just go for the kill. Hit, bash, do things, and won't say a word. You have another type of angry person. He's called the silent treatment one. Just go silent. Won't talk to you. It's called a stormy silence. The sixth type of person is the silent one who will only talk when they feel pain, when you've hurt them. And when they explode, they explode. The seventh one is the one who gets angry at non-living things, situations, objects, and hits them. Now that's okay, you're not hitting anybody, but just be careful with your furniture, brothers and sisters. I mean, you still need to eat on tables, you still need to sleep in your bed, the doors still need to be closed. And the last one is the long haul one. They do all of that, and they keep going and going. These people, wallah, I fear for their life. You know, it's very detrimental to you. Brothers and sisters, Imam Al-Ghazali, one of the great scholars, he says that there are 3 situations people believe they have a right to get angry for. And Imam Al-Ghazali wrote a beautiful statement about 3 situations that people think they have a right to get angry for. Let's look at them. The first one is justified, the second one is falsely justified by the public, and the third one is falsely justified by the individual. Let's have a look at them. The first one is a right to get angry. What is it? It is when basic human rights and necessities are denied or attacked or violated. What are the basic human rights that you have a right to get angry at when people violate them? Number 1, religion. Number 2, family. Number 3, dignity. Number 4, shelter. Number 5, food. Number 6, wealth. Number 7, security. And number 8, body and health. If any of these are attacked and violated or denied, a person has a right to get angry. They are the basic human rights of anybody. That's understandable, and the whole public universally knows this. But how do you get angry? How do you respond is another question. You get angry, you have a right to be angry, but how you respond makes a difference. Number two, the second type of anger that people feel they are privileged to, or they have the right to get angry, is privileges and luxuries. And majority of people are like that. Listen to them very carefully, brothers and sisters. Privileges and luxuries that people think they have a right to get angry about when they are taken away from them are status. They get angry when they don't see themselves being acknowledged in their status. I'm the big man. Why aren't you acknowledging me as big man? Why didn't they promote me? Sometimes it happens at work. The boss didn't promote you. I'm going to get angry. Why? No need to get angry at that. Number two, reputation. Number three, they get upset for not being able to stand out. Someone else stood out instead of them. Number three, when they don't get power. Number four, when they don't get leadership and position. Number six, when they don't get the praise that they think they deserve. And the compliments. They don't get compliments for something they did. Or extravagance, meaning that they get angry when they don't get more money and extravagance and luxury like everyone else. When someone gets in their way, they get angry at them. They want to kill everyone. They want to bash everyone. And most people, brothers and sisters, transform these privileges into basic human necessities. They think these are human rights. They are not human rights. Don't mix those. Majority of people with sadness and sorrow, they transform these privileges, which are these things which are meant to be privileges and luxuries, into necessities. Why? I have the right. I must be promoted. I must be mentioned. I must be complimented. I must be acknowledged. I must stand out. I must be the person who has the most. I must have the looks. Why? Why don't I get the views? I must get the views. I must get the... Why other people? And they get angry over these things and they'll turn the world upside down. These people, brothers and sisters, have changed privileges and luxuries into necessities that they think they have a right to. Brothers and sisters, we don't have a right to get angry with them. There's no need. You stay in your status, and we talked last week about building yourself and your self-esteem. And the third thing Imam al-Ghazali says that people think they have a right to is their personal perspectives, something that's private to them, not public. So, for example, they get angry from the opinions of others about their opinion. Someone challenges your opinion, you get angry. Or criticism of others to your opinion. Or when a person writes a book or makes a post or a podcast and their words or their podcast or whatever is ridiculed. They say, how dare they ridicule my work? How dare they touch my book in a bad way? I wrote that book. I have a right. They must honor it. They must respect it. They get angry. Or people who look at your car or your house and they don't compliment it and they say, oh, it's an ugly house. They get angry. I worked hard for that. How dare they say stuff like that? Or your personal looks. Some people are so used to being praised for their looks and their skills and whatever that they feel, I'm privileged, I have to. I'm entitled. Why? Why are they giving more attention to that person? Sometimes with looks it happens a lot with females, but also happens with males too, when it comes to gym and stuff like that. And girls with their looks and all that stuff. They fight and they bicker and there's innuendo and gossip and really it's over that. So personal looks or skills not being praised and so on. These are personal things that you yourself think I should be praised for. My dear brothers and sisters, anger, as I said, I'm almost done. Anger is natural. But managing your anger is what a Muslim must learn to do. Brothers and sisters, Imam al-Shafi'i says, "Man istughdiba wa lam yaghdab fahuwa himar." Whoever does something that you rightfully should be angry about and you still don't get angry, then you are a donkey. That's what Imam al-Shafi'i or some other said. It was Ja'far al-Sadiq, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq who said it. The point is, it's a correct statement. وَمَنْ اسْتُرْضِيَ وَلَمْ يَرْضَى فَهُوَ شَيْطَانٌ. Whoever, someone does something for them to please them and just calm them down, and they don't calm down and they're not pleased, then they are devils, meaning the devil is controlling them. No one can calm you down or get pleased, and if you are supposed to be angry at something, you don't get angry, then you're a donkey. What are the things you get angry about? The basic necessities, your honor, your pride, your deen. For example, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person got angry. But brothers and sisters, at the end of the day, it's how you deal with that anger. Number one, remember, be just. Take a step back and take a breath. Ask people who are wise. How should you deal with that? Don't take things personally. And remember, How should I react? What is a better way to react to bring better outcomes? Sometimes I get asked this question. I said, what do we do about these people who burned the Quran? Should we go and bash them and do a raid? I said, absolutely not. Why? What's that going to benefit? Think. But I'm angry. Yes, good that you are angry. Anger shows that you love the Quran. Anger shows that you love your deen. Anger shows that the words of Allah are important to you. By the way, you can't make yourself get angry at that. If you love your deen, you'll naturally feel the anger inside. But going and bashing and doing things and talking, you got to know, why are these people burning the Quran? Because they want to sensationalize it. They want to spread it. They want to recruit other people who think like them to continue burning Qurans. So the moment you give them more attention, you've just given them, you've made a new algorithm that's going to go all the way. Everybody, they'll become viral. And then you'll get the haters coming in and say, oh, look, they're doing it. And they'll just start doing it more. But Rasulullah, for example, said, Allah says in the Quran, لا تسبوا دينهم فيسبون دينكم عدوا وظلما. Do not swear or abuse their religions, because then they will swear and abuse your religion with enmity and oppression. So the idea is you've got to think. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said in the Quran, don't raise your voice in the masjid when you're reciting the Quran very loud, and don't make it too low, and be balanced. Why? Because some of the mushrikeen, the disbelievers at that time, when they heard the Quran, they would swear at the Quran. So he said lower it and don't make it too high. Meaning, if you know people are going to be provoked by it, just keep it small. Some people, I've seen people many times, especially some people who got this amazing love for the deen, but they do it the wrong way. So they got their subwoofers in their cars, roll down all the windows, and then they drive through a packed street. Oh gosh, I once saw them drive through a street. I was going to do a marriage for someone up in St Kilda, and it's a place of haram. They go into the street and they pump up the Quran. Why did you go and choose that place? Or a nasheed? Oh, it's da'wah, bro. That's not da'wah. That's not how it works. I love your intentions. That's not the da'wah, habibi. They're going to sing and dance, and it's their line, and a lot of them are drunk. Some of them have got drugs. Some of them, they're not in their right mind. Pumping that music, they might go, oh, that's voodoo, or that's magic, and they see patterns and think, you haven't done anything. That is not the right place to go. Some people may swear and abuse and so on. So be careful about if it's an ego or if it's for the sake of Allah, and get wisdom. Some people, they do all sorts of things. They get angry at people on the internet because they abuse the Prophet ﷺ. Of course you should be angry for that. But remember, by you replying, what have you done? What have you stopped? Don't even reply to them. They'll just go like just another fish in the sea, because they want a reaction. Anyway, brothers and sisters, these are things that we need to think about and control our anger in. Last few notes, inshallah. Some people, they will blame their parents for their anger. They'll say, well, it's just genetic, I inherited it. There's no studies have proven that you inherit anger. Anger is learnt. So you can work on yourself, and it's a will. If you cannot restrain anger, then withhold harming or oppressing others. One, Salman al-Farisi, great companion of the Prophet ﷺ, a man came to him and said, give me advice, Ya Salman. And he said to him, don't get angry. He said, I can't. He says, don't get angry. He said, I can't. I have to get angry. Some people, they can't, truly. So then he said to him, okay then restrain your tongue and hands when you get angry. So if you can't hold yourself, some people truly they can't, and they've tried, at least stop your hands and your mouth from abusing or harming people. Go and swear at the wall. Go for a jog and swear at the whatever you want. You see a bird, you say whatever. Don't even swear at the birds, it's haram, but avoid harming people. Do what you can to lessen. We always say, when problems happen, if you can't solve it, minimize it. If you can't minimize it, distract yourself and employ yourself. Go for a run, go for a jog, move away. Some people say, what if that doesn't work? I'm in the car, someone cuts me off, right there and then I'm going to do it. Let me teach you something about psychology, brothers and sisters. It takes 10 seconds. It takes 10 seconds. 10 seconds for your intelligent, logical, conscious brain to talk to you after you experience a moment of anger. Anger goes straight to the front. If you can wait, first of all, 10 seconds, You start to think. Then take a breath really hard. It'll increase the blood flow, inshallah. Because your veins get restricted, so increase the blood flow. Number 3, don't take it personal. Say, why am I upset? For example, that person who crossed in front of you. You've crossed in front of other people too. The other day, this person crossed in front of me. I'm going to work. I go, Ya Allah, shuhada hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah yahdeek. I'm saying, may God guide you. And this person crossed in front, I got angry. But then I remembered, wallah, I crossed in front of people too. I've done it many times. This person doesn't mean it. Someone got angry. One of you has to be the muslih, the other has to be the reka. The muslih means the fixer and the reka. Which one do you want to be? You can train yourself, brothers and sisters, over time to lessen it, inshaAllah. Brothers and sisters, if we can't do courses about it, read books about it, watch, even go on YouTube, there are people who talk about how to work around psychology of anger. Try and note them down. Learn, try to improve yourself by doing all these things, insha'Allah ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, I will end it with this, that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he himself used to get angry and he used to get pleased. We're not here to tell you don't ever get angry. We're here to tell you learn how to manage your anger and control it bit by bit, insha'Allah ta'ala. We're telling the parents to be role models. We're telling you to learn and get advice on how to work on yourself, insha'Allah. And if you do get angry, reconcile quickly. How do you reconcile? For a believer, it's easy. When you remember death, when you remember Day of Judgment, when you go to a funeral, when you visit a sick person, when you look at other people who are less privileged than you, when you look at other people's problems, when you remember that Allah is going to make you stand. Wallah, I know people, they've gotten upset and then they ended up, after 6 months, they ended up going to a funeral. They remembered death, a friend of theirs died, they come out and they hugged each other. Said, I don't know why we weren't talking to each other for 6 months, bro. Look, we're going to end up in this grave. If it's not going to affect you in 5 years' time, it's not worth it. You go to sleep, you can't go to sleep, other people you're angry at, they're probably sleeping and you're the only one who's suffering. Remember, you're only harming yourself. And Rasul ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ. I am also a human, he said. أَرْضَى كَمَا يَرْضَى الْبَشَرُ. I get pleased the way people get pleased. وَأَغْضَبُ كَمَا يَغْضَبُ الْبَشَرُ. I also get angry the way humans get angry. فَإِنَّمَا. And then he said, and I even asked Allah, oh Allah, if I say something out of anger or pleasure, and that person doesn't deserve it, out of anger, sorry, and that person doesn't deserve it, then change what I said to being a mercy and forgiveness for them. Obviously, Rasul ﷺ never ever said anything out of line. Out of line. But he even said that to give us comfort that he is a human like us. And one Sahabi, Abdullah ibn Umar, he used to write all the hadiths of Rasul ﷺ. So people from Quraysh came to him and said, look what the Messenger ﷺ said. He said he gets angry and he gets pleased. And you're writing everything he says. What if you write something where he's angry? And so Abdullah ibn Umar got whispers. He said, oh my God, maybe I am writing things that shouldn't be written. So he went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, since you get angry and pleased, I don't know, should I keep writing what you say? He said, Rasul ﷺ pointed to his own mouth. Rasul ﷺ went like this. He said, Uktub, write what I say. فَوَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ. By the one who possesses my soul in his hand, I do not say except the truth and right. Even when I'm angry, I speak the truth. Uktub. So he began writing all the hadiths of Prophet ﷺ. For the messengers never say, even in anger or pleasure, they only say what is right. Or what is a societal construct. Like for example, Rasul ﷺ said to an orphan child, a girl, when he saw her once, says, is it you? I remember when you were small. She was an orphan child sponsored by Sulaym. And he said, you? He said, subhanallah, you've grown up. And then he said, may your youth always stay. So she went and cried to Sulaym. He says, why are you crying? He says, the Prophet ﷺ made a dua that I always stay young. That means I'm going to die before getting older. So she went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, she's crying because you made a dua against her. He said, what did I say? He said, you said to her, may your youth always be there. It means that she will never grow old, she's going to die young. And then he laughed ﷺ at the innocence and he said, subhanallah. He said, didn't you hear? I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if I said anything that was misunderstood, to turn it into mercy and forgiveness for that person. What Rasul ﷺ never says except the truth. These are societal constructs. Sometimes you say something that the community knows and you don't really mean it. And Rasul ﷺ is to say it and you're not held accountable for them. So brothers and sisters, I hope insha'Allah, the hadith by the way is sahih in Abu Dawood and others. And it is mutawatir, which means many companions narrated it. Brothers and sisters, I'll stop here now insha'Allah, and I hope insha'Allah that you've understood the difference between mercy and when to use it and when not to, anger and how to use it and when it's good and when not to. And I'm not saying to you don't get angry. There are times when people lower you or attack your dignity or your honor or any of your basic humanity. You must get angry and you should speak out. But you don't have to become unjust. You don't have to go psycho and crazy. You can be firm and say, I do not accept that. You can even raise your voice if needs be. And sometimes if your anger, if you know that that anger will lead to justice and lead to people stopping their oppression, then get angry and raise your voice and be angry. There are even times in the time of Rasulullah in times of war and battle where Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu himself even said a very rude word to one of the enemies which destroyed his morale, and that's part of warfare. So anger is good sometimes. It can also, and I'll say this as well, sometimes, so long as you're not harming anyone, sometimes if you have low self-esteem, or you're not brave, or you're afraid to do something, and you have low confidence, sometimes anger comes in to give you confidence and bravery. If you know that that will make you do something good and encourage you, that anger is good. But you don't go using that anger to harm others or yourself. So anger can be good, and it can make you better. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets angry, so it is a good virtue, but using it in the wrong way is a bad virtue, and getting angry for the wrong reasons is a bad virtue. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.